I have a super fun card to show you today. It's really cute. I was pleased with it when I was done. And it wasn't my go-to stamp set. You know, we often use stamp sets sometimes as demonstrators that aren't the ones that was the very first on our list. But sometimes when you use a stamp set that wasn't the first on your list, you find out, oh, I fell in love with that one. And that's kind of what happened with this. It's a really cute little set. And along with it, towards the end, I have a little bit of an announcement for something that's going to start happening when I'm probably going to tie it in with the new catalog, but I'm going to start introducing it a little bit. So I'll tell you that as we go along. But I'm going to use the Sew Hoppy Together, which is a Sale-A-Bration set. So you can get this free with $50. I know some of you already have it because you've gotten it from me. It's a super fun set, but if you've had it already and you've attempted to cut it out, which I did this card, and it is on one of my videos, so you can go check it out. The foil paper's gone, but I have a few packages of it, so I'm going to be doing some giveaways with that. But I didn't cut out anything but the little crown, because cutting these guys out, like, look how little their little legs are. It was very easy to have an amputated leg on the frogs, and you didn't want to do that. So now there are dies. So when you cut out their teensy tiny little legs and the teensy tiny little crowns, like, you're not going to lop off any little body parts, because that wasn't fun. So now that there's dies, they're more fun to use. So I'm going to use the dies, and I'm also going to use the More Than Words, which is a Sale-A-Bration coordination. These things are only available for 1 month until the end of March, so you don't want to miss them. And I'm going to use, what this set is there's words in this that are tied into most of the stamp sets that are available from Sale-A-Bration. So you'll want to get this if you have very many of them. And I've used a couple of them in videos already. So, and we'll be using those at camp. The card I'm doing today is one of my camp cards for March. I wanted to show you this. This is not the card I'm doing today. This is actually a shoebox swap from a group of demonstrators that came to my house for a shoebox swap that I hosted. It's super cute. She used the stamp set Amazing Life with the frog. So you can see that he's carrying the cake, and then she pulled in some of the words from that. And then if you open it up, which is a super cute little fold, then she also used, again, the words from Amazing Life. And if you've not noticed the Amazing Life stamp set, it's one of those standalones. It does, maybe the cake punch works with it, but it's not a bundle. It's not, you know, it's not one of the more popular Pinterest sets or anything. But it is the one, if you have seen this video that I did, which has a lot of views so far, so I know a lot of you have seen it. It's where I got the shamrock from. So sometimes these sets that are kind of sleeper sets on their own have a lot of little pieces that can be used with other sets. So if you're thinking about the frogs and stuff you can hold, or the cupcakes and need it for St. Patrick's Day, or just a St. Patrick's Day shamrock, go check out Amazing Life. And that can also help you bump up to $50 or $100 to get some of this stuff free. So let's do this card. I did do it on Facebook Live last week, so if you caught Facebook Live, but sometimes on Facebook Live, you know, I'm talking to people and they're not always the most organized of my little stamping. I always do better, I think, on YouTube, because it's just me and sometimes my cats. But I'm going to use Smoky Slate as my base color because I'm in the mood for spring. And this is a nice neutral color that's nice and light. And I'm going to use the gingham. So I've got the heather and the granny apple green. So that's going to kind of base the colors then of what I'm going to use. So I've got, oh, I needed 2 pieces of white because I did stamp the inside. So let me see. Let me see if one of these is already cut to the right size. It'll work. I think it's a full quarter sheet, so I'll make sure this is my inside. So for the inside, I'm going to put this little guy that's sitting down. He's not going to be cut out. I'm going to do my inside first, so I make sure I use this big piece on the inside. And then if I have to trim it later, if I don't mount it in, there'll be room. I will put a picture on my blog of all of the dies that you get with this, because they cut almost everything out, I think, even the teensy tiny little flies. I'm not going to cut out the teensy little flies, and in fact I'm going to pretend that they are lightning bugs, because I don't really want flies all over my card. You know, I'm not a fan of flies in the first place, so I don't want to color them, and I don't want them on my card. I know the frogs eat them. So here's a frog on a unicycle, because everybody needs a stamp of a frog on a unicycle, yes. That may be the one thing that's missing from your collection. So I've got, keep my pieces of paper straight here. Here is the inside of my card. These are going to be ones that I cut out, and then this is going to be the front panel of my card. So here I am going to add the little flies, or in my case, fireflies or lightning bugs, depending on what part of the world you're from. And if you are from Australia and you have yet to see some fireflies or lightning bugs, come to my house in the summer. And you too can catch them and put them in a little ball jar. And then I'm just going to put, I'm not going to put any on the inside. I am going to put, I think I just touched the ink. Yep, I have black on my hands. Put one little butterfly here. You do get a die that cuts out the butterfly, which he is a teensy, teensy, tiny little tail and a teensy, tiny little legs and teensy, tiny little nose. So once again, super nice to have these dies that are going to cut this out for you. So we've got those. The one thing that's a little confusing with this set is I'm going to punch out the lily pad, and these are clear words, but the die is not clear. So I'm going to stamp my one lily pad after I'm done, but I'll go ahead and do the inside. So the words say, when I have a friend as amazing as you, leaping for joy is easy to do. So let's see, leaping for joy is easy to do goes on the outside. So I read it to you backwards. So leaping for joy is easy to do when I have a friend as amazing as you goes on the inside. So you'll want to go to my website so you can see the inside of the card and the outside. But because it's a little bit tricky to do the die, because it's a solid die, you'll see what I mean when I do it. I guess I need to move that one so I don't stamp the wrong thing. So I still need to stamp this. Okay, now we're just going to real quick color this with some blends. That's why I stamped everything at once. But, you know, it is a whimsical card, and it's all pretty tiny. So we're going to go quick with the blends. So I have Light Pool Party, and all of their eyes are going to be Light Pool Party. So we've got one, the frog, the butterfly that gets popped out, frog on the inside, butterfly on the inside, and then all of our little lightning bugs. And with these, I'm just barely touching because they're tiny. And again, whimsy doesn't need to be artistic. Just a hint of color because they're super tiny little bugs. But there are dies that will cut each and every one of these little guys out for you. So that's it for the pool party. And then let's go to his unicycle. So I have Light Smoky Slate, and I worked in a bike shop for several years, and I know every single part of this unicycle like the real name. Like this is the cassette, this is the saddle. You might think it's a seat, but you would be mistaken. So seriously, I know more about bikes and bike parts and unicycles and tricycles and quad cycles. And you might not think unicycles are big sellers, but you would be mistaken because just before Christmas, like around late October, unicycles are a huge seller. So here I'm going to just do a little bit more so there's not everything is smoky slate, but I don't want too much of the, this is light black, I think. Yes, like light basic black. Because I want some stuff to not be. But I was telling my friends the other day, you know, I will be old and gray and losing bits of my memory, and I will remember all of the parts of a bicycle because I never really wanted to know them in the first place. Some of you may be cyclists, and you may think it's your dream to work in a bike shop, because lots of people would come into the bike shop and tell us that was their dream. Oh, I do need these to also color in my little butterfly bodies. But it's really just a job like any other job. We had lots of fun on some days. But I worked in a warehouse, and on some days we had lots of fun there too. So, you know, it is the people you work with. And we had really expensive bike parts. Okay, now let's do the butterfly. So I've got the heathers, the light and the dark, to pull in with my heather gingham paper. So I'm just going to do the outsides, and I'm not doing any blending. I'm going to do a little bit on the frogs, but not on these tiny little things. So I'm just going around the light, the outsides with the light. I had two pieces of this here, so I didn't continually move this. So here, I put them there. Let's use them. So just go around that. And then just a little bit of dark in the middle. So really the idea for this is that it's super quick. And then I'm going to take the brush tip of my light and color these guys tiny little bodies, again, just with a stripe. I don't want to color the whole thing. I don't want to make sure that like it's all got purple in it. I want it to be more of a wisp of color. And I think on a couple of them I did them gray. You can kind of do them whatever color you want. And then I have light pineapple to be their little firefly wings. See, they're fireflies. And those you can kind of even smudge out of the wings. So I'm just kind of laying it down with a brush tip and it's going out. Because, you know, fireflies glow. And now they're obviously not flies. There's no nasty little germs on our card. It's just me and a thing with flies. I think from my time in Australia, when, you know, you walk outside some days and they're just all 100 flies that land on you, and it's gross. So I grew up where there were sweet little fireflies, and then I go spend time in Australia where there's some nastiness, and I just like the sweet little fireflies. Okay, now I've got my granny apple. This is light, and I'm going to do his, let's start with the dark. I want the insides of his tummy and the his spots to be light. So I'm going to take the little tip on this and outline those spots so I make sure that they have the definition of being the light inside. And then just kind of trace around the rest of him. And again, this one's going to get cut out, so if it bleeds a tiny bit, it doesn't matter. There we go. And again over here, I'm going to kind of trace around his spots. And that will just ensure that even though I'm going to blend a tiny bit on this, that and his mouth is open. I think so he can eat some of my flies. But it gives you, it ensures that the light will be different than the dark. Okay, I might need that, a touch of that again if I don't get enough definition. But and then you don't have to make your markers make this noise, but it's fastest, and because you don't want to all watch me color forever. But now because I've outlined like that, I can just color right over the top of those dots and they'll stay. And the same with going into my belly. And again, it doesn't have to be artistic, especially if this is the inside of your card. So you want it to be cute. But you don't have to spend a ton of time coloring it in. And just make sure there's no definite lines of where you put the dark. Which when you make the noise, because you're pressing hard and kind of going in circles, then it makes that all go away. And then do the same thing over here. And if this noise bothers you, then turn down your volume a second. And when I'm done coloring, you can turn it back up. I'll go as fast as I can. It doesn't bother me. But you know, for some of you, it sounds like chalkboard. Almost done. And just leave a tad bit of white right there. There we go. So everything's colored in. Now we just need to get our big shot up here. This card's almost finished. So the first thing I need is I just have this whole piece, and at camp we'll use this whole piece because it saves cardstock if you can get everybody to just put their stuff close. And see, here's the solid lily pad, which makes it really hard for you to see where to lay this if you've stamped your words. So since our stamp's photopolymer, I will run this through first and then I'm going to stamp it. And then there's 2 lilies. So I'm going to run these through. And they only take once because it's designer series paper, so it's nice and thin. And they're just framelits. So put those out. When I did this on the live the other day, I lost a lily pad, or a lily. So I wanted to make sure today I got them both. There they both are. And there's this. And then we need the butterfly and our unicycle riding frog. So if you have problem with your photopolymer stamps lining up, I just did a video that's posted the day before this, or close to, about how to make sure that your photopolymer stamps line up to your dies. So if you have issues with that, then just take a second. It's actually a longer video because it also has some tips on using the distinctive stamps. So just go over and watch that. And that will help you because the rubber stamps don't tend to have an issue. But sometimes when you use photopolymer, they don't always line up. And I give you the way to ensure they always line up. So there we go. That's all cut out. Super easy, super fast. And then one fun tip, one thing we're gonna do, get rid of all of my pieces and make sure I have all my dies back. Okay, I've got this lily pad. Let's get our words on it. Okay, so I need the, make sure you have the right one before you stamp the same words on the outside and the inside. Okay, I'm going to use the big gingham on the outside of my card here. So I want to use the small gingham so it's not, I mean, you could use this, it's just a lot of big and it's off center. It might look a little crooked or this. So I'm going to use this side. So I want to stamp on this. So Weeping for Joy is easy to do when I have a friend as amazing as you. So there's it for our stamping. And then I'm going to take my light pineapple punch again. And then you can pick which sides of these, kind of according to kind of how they ran through. So I'm going to color these with the light pineapple punch. And you have to do it kind of quick because you don't want them to end up being yellow. But the light pineapple will just add a hint of kind of a greenish tinge. So again, it's a light color, so you'll still see the gingham. If you go with one of the dark colors, this will not work because it'll just color your paper. But now it looks a little bit different than the lily pad. Okay, let's mount this all together. There's no ribbon on this card, which I know is shocking if you watch my stuff. This is not quite the right size, so I'm going to cut that later. But that would be the inside of my card, assuming it was, I do have some that are finished, so I will show you that. But it's stamped the state. It just needs to be trimmed like a 1/4 inch. So I'm going to stick this on first. And then my gingham is cut. I did it a couple of different ways, and then I decided that I like this best. This is cut 5 1/2, so it will go the whole length of the card. And then my white piece is the standard, leaving the border around. But the paper's so pretty, and you know it's a 6 by 6 paper stack. You might as well get full use of your gingham. Put my lily pad there. My little butterfly up here. And then you can choose again which side of this you want because the blend does bleed through. So I think I'll do one of each. I'll do this one so I have the little squares, and this one I will use so I have the big squares. We kind of just have one of each. And then, super fun for this card, I have made these little springs, and it's actually all made from Stampin' Up! Stuff, because even the wire is Stampin' Up! Stuff. And this is part of my announcement, starting when my new website goes online, which is going to be soon. It's so close. We've had issues getting my all of my old blog posts. They're all there, but the pictures aren't matching up. Like my husband said, he did it, and I pull it up, and the last post when I had done it was one of the cupcakes, and it had a picture of when we had gone out for Christmas dinner. My daughter and my girlfriend, our kids were in junior high, or maybe 9th grade. I don't know. They were short. And they're all taller than us now. I'm like, yeah, that picture has nothing to do with cupcakes. It has nothing to do with that. But when we get that, it's about the last thing. Once we can get all of those over there, it's about ready to launch. Oh, and I know what I did. There were 2 Wink Stellas here, but that's okay. I've got stuff. Where'd I put my stuff? But starting on my new website, I'm going to have a password protected page, because right now all of my videos are free to all of you, and I love sharing. But I would also like to have something that's special for my customers and those of you who actually purchase from me. So starting when my new website, and it won't be right away because getting the website up right now is the focus. So it may be May, maybe April if we get our act together, but probably May. Let me find it. Stella. I will have a password protected page, and there will be special things on that page. There will be special videos and special techniques that aren't on YouTube. And each month, if you make a purchase from me, or if you come to camp, like if you come to camp, then you would learn how to make this little dangly. So you can see the little dangly. And they'll make the dangly at camp, because that's a perk of being my customer. Because right now I know that thousands of you watch my stuff and thousands of you don't buy from me. So I just want something that's for my customers. So starting in the future, each month when you buy, then you'll get the password to go over to that site to see whatever special thing I make. Like if I was doing it this month, and I will put the instructions for how I made this. Again, it's all Stampin' Up stuff except for the wire, which if you've been with Stampin' Up for a long time, you may have the wire. But everything that I made this with is from Stampin' Up. So I'm just adding, I did use a wink of Stella, but when I just packed up from the other project I taped, I put it all in there. So I'm just adding a little bit of Stella, or in this case some shimmer paint, to my fireflies and to my butterfly. Just to give one last little touch. So that's my little announcement. I just want to have 1 or 2 videos a month that are cards that are a little bit special. And you'll be able to see the card on my website. But to see the how-to tutorial, that will be saved for my customers or my downline. So if you want to be a demonstrator, then you can see it. And I may also have purchased tutorials. So if you want to buy the tutorials of the month, so if there's 2 cards over there and you buy the tutorials, then you could see it that way. But here he is. Is he not so cute? So here's one that has the words cut the right side on the inside. But I know little kids especially. Actually, I say little kids, but I sit here and I play with it myself because they're super fun. They just doing. And when you could put it in an envelope and it just springs right back up. And when you just move the card, like you don't have to doing it, like just any movement of the card makes it move. So just a little bit of motion. And now with the dies, because I had wanted to do this card when it first came out, and when I did this card and I cut out the crown, I thought, yeah, there's no way I'm cutting those little guys out. And at that point, we didn't know there were dies coming out to match. We didn't know about Sale-A-Bration coordination. They kept that a secret from us. So I hope you enjoy the card. I can't wait till my new website launches, and you can for sure tell you on here when it does. So it should be hopefully maybe next week, cross my fingers, if we can get my pictures. I don't want the other thing that happened, obviously, when it had old pictures from my daughter in junior high who now teaches high school, like the card samples that went with cards I'd made last week were stamps from, like, I don't know, what year was she in junior high? 2007. So it was like they went in opposite order. So, you know, fun. Computers, aren't they the fun? So have a great day. Bye.